I think it's a good start. Guys run around, trying to get in good shape, uh, crafting our technique. It's great for young guys to learn how we practice, get around some of the other vets, and grow in that way. But it's just a start.
Cam, how receptive have Black and Derek been to teaching and asking questions stuff?
Very receptive. I just try to let them know about little things they can work on. I think it's just trying to get consistent with the work. We understand it's a new team, different things are going on, but they got good heads on their shoulders. They're trying to listen, and that's all you can ask for a young guy.
Kim, you didn't have to play early
Yeah,
when you were young.
yeah.
Seems like maybe Derek might have to play. I mean, what's the difference in you see football back then when you came in and football now?
Well, one, I was coming off a team that just went to the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
so we were already stacked at the position, and we had a first rounder in waiting. So, different situation. You don't know what's going to happen. I think the main thing we just preach right now is good competition and crafting every day. You're going to have your opportunities. I feel like when I first got here, all Coach Mitch told me was get ready for special teams because I already got my starters. But it's a different situation, and it's up for grabs right now. Each man has an opportunity. It's just about who's willing to seize that opportunity.
How important is that foundation now before you guys go to training camp for the young guys to sort of hit the ground running?
I think it's important. I think it's not everything, but it's a good start. I think training camp, you get a lot more detailed in certain alignments, certain fronts. We can really preach that technique. And, when you got the sun beating on you and you're getting ready for a preseason game, then you're getting challenged. But, it's a good start.
Was that hard for you back then to have to sit and watch?
Well, the thing that was tough with me was I had no training. I had no OTAs. I had no rookie minicamp. I was a COVID baby, so not COVID baby, but lockout baby. But I think being in that condition, I was just trying to catch up. I didn't even get to really meet my teammates till I got to training camp. So they're in a much better position now, and things are looking up.
Is Carl tougher on these guys than John was on
No,
you?
no. I had a broken hand my rookie year, and I was still hitting the bag. Coach Mitch never cared about that. We were going to get the work regardless. Dunbar does it in different ways, but they still get results.
Kim, is minicamp important coming up, or is that just a pumped-up version of what you?
I know why you're asking, but
You're assuming it.
no, I know why you're asking.
Okay. You can answer
But
that.
I think there's growth from everybody. If you think you can only get better out here, that's one thing. But we'll see what happens.
So you anticipate seeing a new face on Tuesday?
Chris Boswell will be here soon.
Do you expect full participation among the guys that are under contract?
I don't know. I barely get any reps out here as it is. So full participation is a question mark at this time.
Cam, is there anyone that stood out to you on defense so far from a surprise standpoint, maybe picking up the defense or anything?
I think in the second year, I think it's just seeing guys like Peyton Wilson really emerge and feel comfortable. Getting a guy like Cole Holcomb back off of injury is nice to see, and he's flying around. Those are guys that are really sticking out right now. But we'll see what happens once we get to training camp.
What's the respect for Holcomb twice to have to come back from major knee?
The utmost respect. To deal with an injury like that, you got two ways you can go. You can call it a career, or you can try to bounce back. And when everybody's telling you it's probably done, to come out here and play the way he's playing, man, that's very special. I think we're all excited to see where he's going to take this.
Can you ever get bored sometimes and look at the numbers of potential Hall of Fame defensive linemen at all, and see where you stack up at all?
I look at them. You understand that you want to keep growing, and it's nice to find different guys that you can compare yourself to and what they did in their past years. I'm big on finding their film and kind of inquiring about it throughout off season and seeing what they did. I think it's just being a student of the game. I think there's always something you can learn, and trying to reach for more.
I think you're running out of film to compare with them.
No, there's plenty. You get. I don't just look at guys that are at my age. I look at guys who've done it for a long time, but are still productive. From 26 on, I try to just keep at it.
The playbook translating onto the field.
Absolutely. It's just getting reps, and continuing to, whether it's mental reps or physical reps, obviously taking advantage of the reps that we have. You don't get a ton, but maximizing those and then making sure that you're taking as many mental reps as you can while they're happening, learning from, the reps that Mason and Skylar are taking, and, just taking this thing one day at a time. And I feel like I'm learning and doing well, and, just need to keep improving and being hungry every day.
I know it's still football in shorts, but do you find yourself now where you're reacting or you're able to see without even having to think on a few of these plays?
Yeah, I think it does happen a little bit. Yeah. I'm definitely thinking a little bit on all of them. You're always thinking, but it's more of a feel thing, I think, and you kind of feel things, and you're like, all right, you feel this guy move, and you're able to trigger it quicker. And I think things like that are, as you go through it and you get more comfortable, and me, I feel that way even after, 6 practice days out here in a rookie mini camp. I'm just starting to settle in and get more comfortable with the calls and the flow of the offense. And so, yeah, man, I'm just excited to keep working and keep getting better.
87 giving you money?
Hey, man, that's the guy, man. We've been doing a lot of work, us rookies, together, and walking through stuff after every practice, every rep that we don't get, making sure that we bang those out. And like I said, mental reps. And shoot, JJ's been getting open for me. Max has been doing some really good things, and Montana made a hell of a catch today. So, yeah, man, it's great.
Well, do you anticipate mini camp being ratcheted up a little bit, speed-wise, intensity-wise?
To be honest with you, I don't really know what to expect just because I'm a rookie and nobody's really told me anything. But I'm sure, that it is ratcheted up, and I think mini camp is, we're spending a little more time here, and we're spending a little more time out here on the field. So, like I said, I've never done it, so I'll have to go through it to actually see what it's like. But I'm excited, man. I think it'll be ratcheted up, and it'll feel even more like football, and Coach Tomlin talks about all the time that this is a football-like environment. It's not quite football, but the closer that we get, the more football-like we get.
You mentioned that you had a bit of a slow start to OTAs. Why was that, and what was kind of going through your head?
I'm a rookie. It was my first day. No, all I was saying was that, on day one, I, just maybe was a little, slower with my feet and with my reads, and didn't really, wasn't really just. And it wasn't like I had a terrible day. I just missed a couple of throws that I normally would have made, and a couple of reads that I would want back. But like I said, as the week went on last week, I felt way more comfortable. And then as this week's gone on, I felt a ton more comfortable. And yeah, man, it's a learning process, and you got to take things as they come, and not get too high, not to get too low, and understand that it's a learning process. And I'm a rookie. I know I have a lot to learn, and still have a lot to learn, but I feel like I've gotten a lot better. Day one was really the only day I'd really want back. Every other day I felt really good of walking off the field, but the thing is there's way more to improve on and continuing to get better.
Will is still in shorts, but instead of that sense, I belong.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You got to believe that. I think especially being a quarterback, confidence is the number one thing when it comes to being a quarterback. And you have to believe that you belong out here to play, and to play at a high level. So, yeah, I absolutely believe that.
What would you say has been your biggest surprise so far?
That's a good question. Biggest surprise? I don't know. I was pretty ready coming in here. I didn't have many things that I wasn't expecting. I felt coming out of Ohio State, I was taught really well, and I learned how to be a pro and how to practice like a pro and how to prepare like a pro and all that stuff. So, there's a lot of things that are different, and that, I had to kind of get used to a little bit. But I wouldn't say anything really necessarily surprised me. They've been really good about, working us in and making sure that we're not getting blindsided by anything completely, and that we're prepared. And I think we've done a really good job, us rookies, of making sure that we're doing our preparation on our own, and mentally and physically getting ourselves ready to come out here and ball out.
Okay, I'm going to follow up real quick. There has to be something. The size of the playbook, the speed of the guys. There has to be something.
Yeah, I'll rephrase it and say more, not necessarily a surprise, but more of like what's been the biggest change, I guess. I'll say that. I'll say, for me, it's the speed of everyone across the board. Obviously, in college, you got guys that are really fast, but everybody here is fast. I mean, you got D linemen that are tracking you down and linebackers that can run like DBs in college, and it's, that is definitely different. And then, I would say on the other hand, on the looking at the playbook and the offensive side, it's just a little more words. It's just a little more wordy. You kind of got to get used to the flow of the play calls and calling them, and it's part memorization and part visualization. Kind of as I say the play, I'm thinking about, all right, who's where and what's going on, and so just getting used to that and getting more comfortable in that has been a focal point for me. But yeah, I'd say those two things have been, I guess, surprises.
How much does it help going against guys like Minka and those sorts of guys in the defensive backfield?
Oh yeah, I mean, shoot, they're the best, best guys I've ever played against, and they're some of the best guys in the game. So getting to go against, I mean, especially our defense, we got some dudes over there, man. And yeah, I felt like when I was at Ohio State, I was playing against, the best defense in the country, and it made me better. And playing against the quality of guys we have on defense here is only going to make me better too.
Robert, I know you pride yourself on being physical, but you also made some shoestring catches out here. Like, you've made some. You feel like you've not opened eyes, but been able to show what you can do from that aspect too.
Yeah, I feel like my career has been a complete receiver. Kind of whatever role I've been in, I've been able to. I feel like, I don't know, adapt to that role, but like just fit into that role. In LA, we had LaShawn McCoy, who was able to be a good blocking receiver. And then I got to LA with Goff and was able to really just blow up my passing game and the play action game with Gurley in the backfield, with the combination of the blocking and the pass. Going to Tennessee with Derek and being able to continue that blocking, and then going to Houston with CJ and then continue to being a third down guy. I feel like it just being a complete receiver, whatever role is, even being a punt returner, like whatever role it is, being a complete football player, give them my all, run, catch, block, tackle, do it all.
Do you have an idea what that role will be this year?
Football player for this team. I think that's really what it is, a guy who's going to give his all, block, catch, run down the football field for his teammates, be selfless, be clutch when they need me to, but be an open receiver when the ball's in the air.
Roman Wilson's the guy who didn't get to play last year. So this is going to be like kind of his first real year getting action. How have you seen him just in how he prepares, how he works his routes? What's he been like in your eyes just as a young guy? Yeah,
coming to work, ready to work. Coming out here, obviously you see he's fast and skillful, but when you see his approach, just coming here, taking the details to improve his game. He had a great week. This week, me and him have some big explosive plays. But really, I feel like just give him confidence. He's a confident player, be able to make his plays, be himself, and get the ball in his hands. I think when you give confidence to that whole room, our whole room, the sky's the limit.
As part of your role as a vet, have you guys talked to you about like maybe helping him and Calvin, guys who are young and still figuring their way into the NFL?
No, not really. I feel like you come in here and I feel like they kind of tell you, you're a vet, you want to lead by example and show them the ropes and stuff like that. Obviously, you do that. But I feel like my game and how I approach it is like, if I'm trying to feed my knowledge to everybody in the whole team, even the DBs. Like if everybody getting better, this whole team is getting better. Obviously, I'm out there working my craft, trying to lead by example, put good stuff on tape. You said I had a good day today. Appreciate it. But I'm just trying to go out there and just do my job and work and put it on tape. And when these guys have questions, I'm giving them the answers, giving them details, giving them confidence, and allowing them to play their game and be themselves. I mean, all these guys are here for a reason and capable, and they just got to be able to let it loose.
There's been talk about bringing other guys potentially in from the outside. Do you guys block that out? Do you pay any attention to that? How do you handle, what you guys got to do?
We look at the plays, we come out here and practice, and whoever's at practice, that's who we go against, and whoever's on our team, we welcome them. We don't look at who's coming in, who they're bringing in for working outs. It doesn't matter. It's off season. It's part of the game. Guys gonna come and go. Omar's trying to build the best roster he can, and that's building guys, challenging guys, and making the room always competitive. And it's part of the game. I feel like at this point in my career, I don't look at that. Hopefully these young guys are not looking at it either. We got a job to to earn, and we just come out here and do our job.
Where do you feel you are with understanding the offense at this point?
I feel like I got a great understanding of the offense, very similar to what I've been in previous years. A lot of same concepts, different terminologies, more so getting the language down. But very familiar with the offense and what Arthur is bringing, and the run game, the pass game. So feel really confident in doing everything that he's asking of me.